and I was like coughing up salt water and like spitting like half air, half water out.
Hi guys, I'm Hannah.
I'm Sadie.
And we're not straight. And today is day one of our much anticipated, mostly by ourselves, relationship series. So we're going to talk about how we met today.
We're going to give you the details of the story. If you haven't subscribed to our channel and you're interested in more kind of relationship entertainment, some unprofessional advice, lots of really good stories, definitely consider subscribing. You can hit the button in the corner or the red button down below.
Yeah, we post twice a week, and here we are. Let's just dive in.
Yeah. So, we have known each other for 10 years now, this year. 10
wow,
years.
10 years.
Yeah, we've known each other since 2010.
Yeah.
And our relationship has changed a lot over those years. So we're going to give you the first little bit.
Yeah, the first piece. So it all kind of, I guess we owe a lot of credit to our mutual best friend now. Mm-hmm. I met her when I was a camper at a summer camp, when I was like 10 years old, I think, and she was my counselor then for like 8 years in a row or something crazy like that for a long time, and she became kind of like an older sister to me, and we were on this trip once, and she was telling me about her best friend and how she like wanted me to meet her because she was so cool and fun, and I was like, okay, like not as cool as me, but whatever, like if I get to meet her, that's cool. And she ended up like coming on the second half of this trip with us, and so we're like in a kayak, and I've heard all this stuff about her, and suddenly we're pulling up to this beach, and my friend is like, oh, there she is, and points, and this woman, Sadie, is like sprinting toward us.
Yeah, I wanted to give them a good welcome, and I was excited to see my friend, and I didn't know who Hannah was at all, but I made a really good first impression by sprinting down the beach and sprinting into the water. Mm-hmm. And if you know anything about water, and you know anything about sprinting, you know that they don't usually go together, and I learned that the hard way. So I just like went sprinting full speed into the water and tripped on nothing except for just water. Mm-hmm. And I face planted, and if you know anything about face plants and you know anything about water, you know that when you face plant, your face goes into the thing, and so my face went into the water, and I took a huge breath, so when I came up, I was like coughing and spewing water, and my friend and a couple other people that they were with were like, what are you doing? So I jump up out of the water, and I'm just so excited to see like my friend and say hi to all the other people that I just tried to like push through, and I tried to like be like, hey, how's it going? And I was like coughing up salt water and like spitting like half air, half water out. And if you know, like it was like one of those coughing fits where like you can't catch your breath. So I had like, I couldn't breathe in and I couldn't say anything because I was just like stuck in the like coughing. So I had to just like, they just sat there and watched while I had to just stand there and cough and like try to talk for like 2 straight minutes. So I would say it was a good first impression.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So like from our perspective, we're like kind of coasting toward the beach at this point. So we're slowly getting like closer and closer as she's coughing, and we're like no longer paddling. We're just kind of sitting, waiting, I guess. And my friend is like, well, there she is.
It was me.
It was Sadie.
That was me.
Yeah. So first impression, super fun, like very excitable.
I'm glad that's what you gathered from that.
Yeah, no, like, and that water is cold, and she took it like a champ. Like,
it was a hot day.
Yeah. So then we got to hang out for the rest of that trip, and it was super fun. And I remember even writing in my journal about it, like, met my friend's best friend, and like, she's super cool. And so then I would keep in touch with this like woman who was like an older sister, for, I don't know, throughout the year. Like, we would write letters, and in staying close with her, I kind of became friends with Sadie just by, I don't know, proximity, I guess, because they lived together. And so I moved to Boston for school, but every time I would come home for like a holiday or a Christmas or whatever, I would make a point of seeing that friend, and then would end up spending time with Sadie as well. So we had this kind of like loose friendship that had formed in like one day at a time, or like 4 hours at a time, across the span of like
several years,
6 years,
yeah,
7 years.
Like,
yeah.
It wasn't very frequent, but but we always like had a good time together. I think it was clear to me that my friend like adored Hannah, and I was like, yeah, she seems great. And so we kind of grew closer throughout the years and became like, we then had our own friendship.
Yeah. So then when I ended up moving back here, we ended up working together the summer after I graduated from college. And that was when we actually, I would say, developed like a really close friendship that we hadn't had before.
Yeah, I think our reunion that summer, our first interaction, I would say, was a little underwhelming from my perspective.
I keep forgetting about this.
Yeah, Hannah forgets about it because it wasn't very impactful for her, although I thought it might be. Because when I walked in, I was like, I saw Hannah and I was like, you know, I had seen her like off and on, like a handful of times for the past like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this will be funny. So I walked in, I was like, your favorite person's here. And she just turned and looked and was like, oh, hey. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Let me try that again. Your favorite person's here.
I was like, oh, you're talking to me in reference to yourself. Hi.
It's always better when you have to repeat the joke.
Yeah, I know. That was my bad.
I thought we were gonna like really hit it off, like, and she was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, like good to see you again." I was like, "What?"
Which, like, in my defense, or in your defense, we did hit it off. It wasn't like
we did.
Yeah.
I just thought it was gonna be like that
Instant.
moment, like, "Hey, what's up?" Like my old friend.
Yeah, I would say it was like the next day. I just needed some time, I guess.
So we ended up working together for a summer, and we had so much fun together. Like, we had a ton of fun working together. We got super close. Like, we caught up on like all the things that had happened throughout the years or whatever, and realized that we were very similar in a lot of ways and had a lot of similar interests and stuff. And so by like the end of that summer, I was kind of like, man, I hope we're not just like work friends. Like, I hope we're also like real friends too. Yeah. And I think I expressed that to Hannah. I was like, can we be like real friends?
That's like a fun thing, or a funny thing with coworkers. Like, I don't know if you guys have experienced that. Comment if you have, but I feel like that's universal. You meet someone through work, and like the first time that you hang out outside of work feels like a big deal. Because
because you're like, yes, like we like, it's like a, I don't know, it's like crossing like some sort of like social boundary of like, this is where you have your normal interactions. And so it was really exciting to realize that like it wasn't just because we were put in like the same like work environment situation. Like we actually were like good friends. And we had spent that whole summer like talking about, you know, like divulging like our deepest secrets, like talking about like our relationships and stuff. Like, you know, like just really like connecting on a lot of different stuff. And so there was a lot. I think that we had a pretty solid foundation, so it was like a good...
Yeah. It wasn't like a stretch.
After that summer, we would hang out every once in a while, and we would talk frequently. We spent a lot of time talking, like messaging at work and stuff. And
that's
like,
true.
Like we would go out to dinner every once in a while, and we'd hang out. And we both were dating different people at the time, and so we would hang out and think we like went on a hike once and like had
With,
a
like,
game night
all
once.
4 of us.
Yeah, like couple like cute double date kind of things.
Yeah. She and actually this woman who was like the older sister to me would host like viewing parties at football games. And so that was just like a weekly excuse for me to go hang out with them. Once the season ended, it was suddenly like, wait, we don't have like a built-in weekly hangout time anymore. And I think that was kind of when those 3 months of not talking like started, was at the end of the football season when that ended.
Yeah, it was kind of just like it was kind of like our natural pattern of like spending time together had changed, and so we just didn't really spend time together, and it was I mean, there's always excuses. Like, I was busy, I was planning a wedding, I was, you know, like, there's always like a reason that you come up with in your own head. But it was really hard, and I remember thinking, like, when we did like start hanging out again and start talking again, I was like, I miss this a lot. It's like kind of one of those things that like you like, you know, you miss it, but you don't know how much until you have it again. Yeah.
And I remember being actively sad about it. I remember talking to my ex-boyfriend, who was my boyfriend at the time, about it, and saying like, maybe we were just like work friends, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it was like the kind of thing that wasn't going to turn into like a lifelong friendship, and feeling like that's such a loss. Like, it's such a bummer because I thought she was so fun and so cool. Yeah, that was it. It was a tough few months when we weren't hanging out. Because I had moved back across the country, I didn't have a lot of friends here. I have some family who's here, and they're awesome. But most of my friends were still on the East Coast. Like, all of my college friends, it was only my boyfriend who had moved here with me. So, I was kind of like really looking for friends at that time too, which I think made it harder for me.
So I think like through that time, like we were, I mean, I would say good friends, but we also kind of were driven apart by circumstance. In many, not driven apart by circumstance, that's so dramatic. But like we were like, we didn't spend as much time together. Like, that's like the simpler way of putting it. And that was kind of like that felt like the first like kind of big chunk of time. Like, that felt like the first like part of our relationship. And after we reconnected, after those like couple of months that we didn't really talk very much, things kind of like took off really fast, and our relationship developed and changed a lot over that time. And so we'll go into that in our next video.
Yeah, we'll get to that next time. So stick around. Subscribe if you want to hear the rest of the story.
Yeah, definitely. And if you like this video, give us a like, and
comment where you can.
I think that's all. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Yeah, we can like splice it somewhere. I shouldn't have my feet
I got it!
No, you didn't.
Okay, one more time. Oh, it was way closer this time. I can't believe that almost didn't go in.
Leave it in the trash. Oh, God.
I'm afraid this is going to get water everywhere, I was about to say.